Chapter 17, The Kingdom of Wishes. Magnifico, Asha, and Raphael reached the clearing in the woods and set up camp on the precipice of a mountain with a magnificent view of the northern coast. Magnifico stood at the edge, staring at the darkening sky as he clutched his staff. "Here," said Asha, offering him a tin plate with bread and roast beef. "Take it away," said the king. "I am not hungry." Asha saw Magnifico was deep in thought. "Is something wrong?" she asked. "No. You fought valiantly. But if we meet a dragon, bows and arrows will be of no use. When he comes, I want you to run and hide. Not because you are a coward, far from it, but dragons are no creatures for a maiden to contend with, no matter how brave and skilled she is. You made a mistake, you turned yourself in, and you made restitution. Your work with me is finished." "When the girl's parents thanked you, why did you say you are no hero?" "Because I only did what any man should do. What I could not do for them." Magnifico closed his eyes and bowed his head. "When I was a young man, my name was David. My first wife was Sarah, and we had a son called Caleb. We were farmers in a village on the shores of Denmark. We were very poor, but it seemed we were always happy. Although I loved my fellow farmers, blacksmiths, and millers, I was different. They were merely concerned with the toils of living, working from sun up to sundown, putting food on the table, starting all over again. I, on the other hand, was obsessed with the art of magic. I devoured every book I laid hands on to feed the hungry dream of knowledge, to learn how the wizards of old had come by their powers and why they used them for good or evil. It was a whole new world of languages, spells, symbols, and pictures. How to call up rain, wind, hail, sleet, and snow, and how to prevent it. How to cure sickness of a body and mind. How to remember things you want to remember, and forget things you want to forget. And above all, how to know if someone was speaking the truth. My friends often chaffed me, saying I was wasting my time on trifles, that I had as much chance of becoming a wizard as I had of going to the moon. Sometimes I wondered if they were right. Magnifico swallowed hard, and his eyes became watery. One day I was out hunting. It was such a perfect day. The weather was beautiful. The corn and wheat were in harvest, and the flowers were in blossom. When I returned, everything was gone. The crops were afire. My house was burnt to a cinder. My son was slain, and my wife, she was Magnifico put a hand to his head as if he were in pain. Manly tears trickled down his cheeks one by one. I found her unconscious. When she came to, her eyes were wide and sightless. She didn't know me. She didn't know our home. She didn't know anyone. All she could say was, "Pirates, pirates." I found her with her dress torn. Asha could say nothing, only stand there still as stone, listening with horror. She lingered for a month and then she wandered off and threw herself over a cliff. She would still be alive and well if I hadn't taken that hunting trip. Asha wanted to say, "It's not your fault," but her intuition told her to hold her tongue. As the head of a family, it was only natural to blame yourself if the unthinkable befell them. Long time did I cry, ashamed to live. I wanted to follow her over that cliff, but something stopped me. It was then I vowed to follow my wish and fulfill it, or else die in the attempt. So I left the village in search of my dream. I followed the instructions of my books. I found the wizard, Balthazar the Purple. He was a wise old man with a white beard and purple robe, and had a daughter who became my queen. He taught me all I needed to know, and she taught me how to love again. When I thought my heart had died forever. Before Balthazar taught me magic, he taught me how to do the impossible. To renounce my anger and forgive the past. So when I acquired power, I would use it in the service of my fellow men, and not to satisfy my thirst for revenge, even though I had every reason to. They saved me from myself and gave me something to be proud of. It has been 30 years since that terrible day. I never mentioned them. I seldom think of them. But when I saved that peasant girl, it brought me back to that moment. Asha sighed. She put her hand on Magnifico's shoulder. Your Majesty, is it possible to change one's wish after it has been given? Yes, if you have the king's permission. I don't care about my old wish anymore, whatever it is. I want to make a new wish, and it's not for myself. The king touched her heart with his hands and made a magical sign. You have my permission. My wish is that you might find some peace, not in magic or power or wealth, but here, so that you don't blame yourself anymore. I hope and pray you find strength in the knowledge you will see them again. A small globe formed in her hands. Inside was an image of Magnifico resting peacefully in a meadow with a contented smile. Suddenly he rose to find a woman and child on the horizon. He ran towards them, and they were locked in a warm embrace. Magnifico wrinkled his brow, puzzled. He had received many, many wishes, mostly for themselves, sometimes for their families, but never for himself. A tear trickled down his cheek as he held the wish close to his heart, letting it dissolve inside of him. I want to believe that more than anything in the world. Help me to believe. Magnifico the wise, Magnifico the brave, Magnifico the powerful embraced Asha and wept like a child. She cradled his head in her arms and waited until he had wiped away the last tear.